Make it all be so simple. Make it all be so simple. Designer gas, so the price ain't low. I don't know about you and yours. All my hitters train to go. Gotta keep that pistol close. I can't fuck no lazy hoe. I can't fuck no dusty hoe. I like all my honey's blue. I don't know, got into you. Like da da da. Make that ass clap like da da da. Oh, like da da da. Bring that ass back like da da da. Hit her from the back, make a movie, ayy. I'ma take a trip like my shoes ain't lace. Don't play me, I don't wanna be played. Don't save her, she don't wanna be saved. I let this vibe in a good mood. Remember all them tough times I went through. You fuck with me, I fuck with you. Don't lie to me, I won't lie to you. Oh, like da da da. Make that ass clap like da da da. Oh, like da da da. Bring that ass back like da da da. Designer gas, so the price ain't low. I don't know about you and yours. All my hitters train to go. Gotta keep that pistol close. I can't fuck no lazy hoe. I can't fuck no dusty hoe. I like all my honey's blue. I don't know, got into you. Like da da da. Make that ass clap like da da da. Oh, like da da da. Bring that ass back like da da da.
Building. I am your gracious host, right back at the helm of today's show. Shout outs to everybody here. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. Got some good game and a good show for you guys today, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Support the show by hitting the Cash App or hitting the Super Chat. Let's do this. Hold on. Now I'm looking for something. I can't find it. But anyway, so we're gonna say this to the watch lady. Guys, let's go.
Well, after raising more than $1.5 billion during her failed election campaign and ending up with $20 million in debt, it seems Kamala Harris is desperate for more cash. Because the vice president is still reportedly pumping Democrat donors for money weeks after the election loss. Joining us now is journalist, writer and co-founder of the Based Politics podcast, Brad Palumbo. Brad, good to see you. Look, either the Democrats have no idea how to manage money or can't read the room. I suspect both at this point. But how bad of a look is this?
It's pathetic and insulting. I mean, you blew $1 billion, including on celebrity endorsements and built.
That's crazy when you got Australians are saying that the Democratic Party don't know how to read the room or how to spend money. Ooh, scandalous.
Six-figure podcast sets to be built up for an hour interview and then torn down. And yet you have the audacity to come to hardworking Americans who can barely afford
What's
to
going
buy
on,
groceries,
LSP?
many of them, because in part due to the Biden-Harris administration's policies, and say, give us more money. We squandered it all. Now we're millions in debt. They should hang their heads in shame. But also, any American, I mean, they send these fundraising bills because they work, right? And any American who is actually still giving these people money needs to get their head checked, because you could be sending malaria nets to Africa.
Come on, Streamlabs. Let them talk, man.
But instead, you're giving Kamala Harris more money. At this point, to people, their capacity for stupidity sometimes does amaze me, honestly.
Hey, Brad, Hollywood star George Clooney is reportedly furious that Barack Obama used him to force President Joe Biden out of the US election. Clooney's newspaper article calling for Biden to stand aside for Kamala Harris was widely credited for changing the course of the election.
That's crazy. And then the crazy thing is that now it's like the floodgates are open. It's like the world is shifting. Like now you got celebrities getting into politics like crazy. Super. You know what I'm saying? I think Trump, I gotta check it. He put Linda McMahon. I read it somewhere. I didn't think it was true until I found that it was. He put Linda McMahon in charge of some other shit, and that's funny because I mean we grew up. Well, I grew up watching Linda McMahon a little bit on the WWE, but it was just all the storylines that they had her doing was crazy. So it was just crazy that he put her in charge of anything. But that celebrities are taking the house, man. Elon Musk, it's like an Iron Man movie, man.
You took a big swing, and thank God you hit that ball out because
it could have gone very badly.
It could have gone very, very badly.
Go badly.
Well, listen, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be going pretty well right now, but.
Yeah, well, it did go badly for the Democrats. Kamala Harris, of course, was trounced in the polls, but Brad Clooney is now complaining that Obama, who sort of manipulated him into doing the dirty work on his behalf, has now left him to take most of the blame for the election loss.
Yeah, I mean, that take aged like milk, obviously. We don't know how Biden would have done, but it is kind of hard to imagine he could have done that much worse than Kamala Harris. I mean, this is a historic loss. It is kind of sad in a sense that Obama and other members of the Democratic elite didn't have the courage to say publicly, yes, Joe needs to step down, and instead they outsourced that dirty work to a celebrity actor.
So, George Clooney reportedly furious at Obama for manipulating him to, to basically, oust Biden. So, and a lot of people were saying that Biden should have stepped down, and reportedly, Biden was mad that, he was mad that, I'm not even gonna lie, they said that he was mad that Kamala was running, even though he was sick, and they said it was the Rona, and he got over it real quick. He wasn't really happy about her campaign, Now, I don't think he necessarily was gonna run again, but it was just how they counted him out, which is why he was, pretty upset, or I guess pretty mad, So you didn't really see when he got back. You didn't really see him supporting her like that. Y'all hit the like button, subscribe before you hit the poll. We go live all the time, so you'll always have a place to come. Player Talk Radio. And make sure you guys support the show. Subscribe before you hit the poll. So he gonna take care of his before he leaves. Now the irony of all of this was that when because a lot of people don't remember when Obama was in office. They were trying to bait him. They wanted to see if he was going to look out for black people. They wanted to see if, is he going to look out for black people? Is he going to, get in and show favoritism? And is he going to, shit, even black people were sitting back to see if he was going to look out for them. And, during the Obama administration, it was interesting because he got Obama. He was doing a bunch of different stuff. Like he looked out for the LGBT. He looked out for a lot of people. you know, and not black people in general. So, you know, they thought he was gonna, you know, do some slick shit and take care of black people or whatever. Even black people thought it was gonna happen and never really panned out, never really happened. And then all kinds of like weird deaths and you know, stuff was happening. It was almost like they were baiting him to like, okay, let's see what you're gonna do. This person, this you know, this black person died here, or this happened or that happened. Let's see what you're gonna do. And you know, he never really came through for black people like that. This is why it was like interesting when Kamala wheeled his frail ass out to try to lecture black people on whatever. And then what also ended up happening was that you know, white people got mad at him. You know, white people started going in on Kamala after they realized that, you know what I'm saying, he's not, you know, he wasn't coming out for the suburb crowd, because the suburb America likes Obama these days more than black America. But the black man still fell for it. You know, black men still, you know, voted for Kamala. And damn, it's like she was supposed to be your president, but she couldn't handle the funds or allocate the funds from the campaign correctly. Like, whoa. You know, so did America dodge a bullet? Did America dodge a bullet? Interesting. All right. So Biden looked out. You know, Biden made sure that last month, he wasn't trying to do it during his term. He made sure that last month. Yeah, let me get my son up out of this before I get up out of here. Yeah, let me get my son up out of this before I get my ass up out of here. You know, they're going to look out for each other. Y'all subscribe before y'all hit that poll. Let's go.
But it did need to be said, and I will give him some credit for actually sticking his neck out there and saying, yeah, listen, this guy, he can't cut it, because we all knew it. Everyday Americans knew it, that Biden was no longer up to the job and was going to get trounced by Trump most likely. But I think where this train of thought fell apart was saying, and that's why we need to give Kamala Harris the nomination with no primary. That turned out to be a massive mistake, as anybody who was honest and followed her political career before this and knew she had the charisma of a wet blanket and cackled randomly for no reason would have told you it didn't work out very well.
Yeah, it was blatantly obvious, Brad, that it certainly didn't work out well. Now, look, the bitter banshees, still bitter from Trump's victory at The View, have thought of quite a novel idea, I'll say. I'll let them explain it.
Should Biden pardon his son, Hunter?
I think I would pardon my child. I don't even have kids. I'd bury a body for my child. We just saw Donald Trump, his indictments go away because he's in power.
One of the issues that I have is when you look at the charges that Hunter Biden was indicted on, less than 0.09% of the population is are indicted on that charge. And so it's basically close to zero. So I actually think that the only reason he was indicted is because his last name is Biden.
Right, okay, so we're talking here felony gun charges and tax evasion, Brad. But more importantly, how do you like the election result? Is there justification for this?
It's all comically absurd, but I'll say this, it is true that only a tiny amount of people are prosecuted for the crime that Hunter Biden was prosecuted for. But what she failed to mention was that Hunter Biden wrote a memoir confessing to it. He wrote a book where he detailed his extensive drug use at the exact...
So now you got Hunter Biden confessing. Wow, this is interesting. I didn't even know he confessed. Wow, okay, so he wrote a what they call that shit when before people what they call that shit? He wrote a manifesto, a confesso that he okay, and got pardoned.
same time that he signed a federal form to purchase a gun attesting that he was not using drugs. So he lied on a federal form to buy a gun, which is a felony gun offense. And the Democrats are the party of big gun control advocacy here in America. So it's a glaring hypocrisy. And yet they're acting like it's no big deal, or as if he's a victim because he's Hunter Biden. I will say this, though. Morally, he did the crime. He should do the time. But if I was a lame duck president, maybe
Damn, he called him a lame duck president. Crazy.
I'd pardon my son too, honestly, because you have nothing to lose. You don't have to get reelected. I wouldn't want
It's not like they're going to impeach him.
My son to see the inside of a jail cell. So would it be the right thing to do? No, but would it be kind of understandable on a human level? I honestly have to say I think it would be.
Hey man,
this shit is funny as hell. That's interesting. All right, let's get into this. Trump responds to it.
This morning, President Biden is en route to Angola after a holiday weekend spent with family on Nantucket, stopping briefly in Washington in between and announcing he's pardoning his son, Hunter. Hunter was convicted of lying on a form about his drug use when he purchased a gun and in a separate case agreed to plead guilty to tax charges. Biden argues his son's charges came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. The president's decision is a reversal from a position he held for months.
And have you ruled out a...
Now, I wonder if, I wonder if he was running again, would he had still like, you know, pardon his son. I'm pretty sure he probably would, but I'm wondering if he was still running, would he had still pardoned his son? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? I wonder if he would, if he would have still pardoned his son the same way, you know, or maybe at some point during his term, if he did win. Or during his campaign, he probably would have done it. But I guess he felt that if he had pardoned his son in earlier, he would have been criticized. So before he left the office, like I said, and like you guys said, they look out for each other. So, he did what he had to.
A pardon for your son?
Yes.
The pardon goes beyond Hunter's gun and tax charges, also covering offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken.
And that's crazy because the Democrats were yelling at Trump and, he needs to be accountable and we're the side of justice. Crazy.
Part in during the period from January 1, 2014 through December 1, 2024. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, a Republican, accuses Biden of skirting accountability. Democratic House Representative Greg Stanton of Arizona also criticized Biden's decision, saying Hunter committed felonies and was convicted by a jury of his peers. Biden is not the first president to use his pardon powers before leaving office. President Clinton pardoned a former business partner and his half-brother, Roger Clinton.
Okay, so Democrats, they be using their shit before they bounce. Okay.
President Trump pardoned Charles Kushner, his son-in-law's father, and just announced as Trump's pick for ambassador to France. In response to Biden's decision, Trump wrote, "Does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the January 6th hostages?" addressing a promise he campaigned off of. Trump has also promised to go after those he considers political enemies and has announced plans to fire FBI Director Christopher Wray, replacing him with longtime ally Kash Patel.
See, that's why they didn't want Trump to win, because Trump knew all the people that were, that was on his ass about, that basically was trying to get him up out of here, you know, basically trying to put him in jail. So if they don't step down or whatever he feels that he wants to do with them, that's what's going to happen, because they're afraid that he's going to put them in jail or do what they try to do to him.
Who has vowed to help the president-elect with his plan for retribution.
Putting his son in the Bureau of Prisons within the power and control of Donald Trump, a political rival, it was probably something as a father he needed to do to protect his son.
Hunter Biden potentially faced decades in prison. In a statement, he said he will not take this decision for granted and will devote the life he has rebuilt in his sobriety to helping those who are sick and suffering. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Well, after raising more than $1.5 billion.
So Hunter Biden gets pardoned. Kamala needs more money. Damn, that means if she had won, she probably would have went into office in debt. That's interesting. Okay.
Joining us right now for more on this is CNN senior legal analyst, former state and federal prosecutor, Ellie Honig. Ellie, another former pardon attorney called this an extraordinarily broad grant. Why is this so broad, more so than a typical presidential pardon? What do you think of it?
Okay, this is as broad as a pardon can possibly be. Ordinarily, a pardon will specify a certain case, and that happened here. It says, I hereby pardon Hunter Biden on the gun case in Delaware and on the tax case in California. But what's different about this one is it also says this is a full and unconditional pardon for all conduct going back to January 1 of 2014, which means Hunter Biden cannot be federally prosecuted for anything going back to 2014 and really before then, because before then is going to be precluded by the statute of limitations. And as you said before, the only historical precedent, the best historical precedent for this is the pardon of Richard Nixon by Gerald Ford, which has similar language that says full and unconditional pardon. So Joe Biden has pushed to the absolute outer limits of the breadth of the pardon power here.
And as you've heard, in the political sense, there's been a lot of reaction to this quickly, and there will be more today. But looking at it kind of in the, keeping it in the legal sense, past presidents generally have cited how pardon recipients have accepted responsibility for their actions as a reason to grant them a pardon. Biden is not here. He called it a miscarriage of justice that Hunter Biden was unfairly singled out, which is something that we have heard Donald Trump lean into before in targeting the Justice Department and the so-called deep state. Does Biden, in this move here, give Donald Trump new cover for whatever pardon action he decides to take in the future?
To be sure, Kate, we're already seeing that. The first reaction from Donald Trump and his team essentially is, what an injustice. Now we get to do the same thing, which is sort of an interesting twist of logic there. But without question, I mean, look, there has long been a fair debate, fair on both sides, about whether Hunter Biden is being treated overly leniently or overly zealously because of his status as Joe Biden's son. I think there are points to both sides of that. But what I think is not disputable is that this is a historic act of political nepotism. This is the granting of a pardon by the president to his son. Joe Biden even says, if you really parse his statement, he acknowledges that a substantial part of this is because Hunter Biden is his son. And that will land Joe Biden on a historic list that he probably doesn't want to be a part of, along with Bill Clinton, who pardoned his half-brother Roger Clinton, along with Donald Trump, who pardoned Charles Kushner, who is the father of his own son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So I'm sure Joe Biden understands the historic implications of what he's done, and now he's earned his way onto that list.
I want to read you something that the Democratic governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, posted about this. He's not okay with the move. He wrote in part, "I'm disappointed that he put his family ahead of the country. This is a bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents and will sadly tarnish."
But it's been used by presidents. I just showed you a video, guys, where they say, okay, yeah, the Democratic presidents, they They get they folks out, you know. And it looks like they wait till the last minute, you know what I'm saying, before they get up out of the office and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know if it's like a lasting impression thing, but I'm pretty sure Trump didn't he pardon Lil Wayne and Kodak Black and a couple of other people while he like midterm. He didn't wait. Democrats abusing their pardons. So they said that it feels like he's not putting the country first. He put his son over the country. I mean, shit. Well, I mean, honestly, what would you do for your kid? But hey,
his reputation. Does this damage the justice system?
Well, I totally agree with the governor that this pardon will tarnish Joe Biden's legacy. I mean, Joe Biden, let's be clear here, he lied to us for a long time. He said categorically, I will not pardon my son. He said, I will take it off the table. And he couched it in very high-minded terminology. I respect the Justice Department. I respect the jury.
that dementia, I tell you, you know, they play around. You know, they play around, you know, and pretend to be dumb. I don't even blame them. I mean, it's better to pretend to be dumb or naive and, you know, get your son out of a pinch before you go. Like the fuck? You gonna leave your kid in a bind or a Biden? A binding? So he lied to y'all and bounced. Not like y'all cared anyway. He lied to y'all and bounced.
His verdict. Well, now he's gone back on that. I don't know how many people actually believed him. I certainly didn't. There's tape of me saying there's no way he's going to make good on this. He's absolutely going to pardon Hunter Biden. But as to whether this tarnishes the justice system, I don't think I would go that far. I think this, like I said, will go down on the list of ignominious presidential pardons. But I don't think law students 50 or 100 years from now are going to look back at this as a horrific miscarriage of justice that undermines the foundation of our justice system. There is a reasonable argument that in some respects, Hunter Biden was treated unfairly, and I think that will give Joe Biden some degree of cover here.
All right, joining us now is Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey of Maryland. He currently sits on the House Judiciary and Ethics Committees. Congressman, I'm so grateful to have you on the program this morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I do want to start with what we learned overnight with President Joe Biden, who decided to pardon his son Hunter, not just for the crimes that he was convicted of and pled guilty to, but for a sweeping 10-year period of time. Did President Biden make the right decision?
You know, I think I've got mixed views about it, frankly. I think that, you know, there is concern that the president legitimately had that the Trump administration and, you know, all this, the retribution tour stuff with respect to the Department of Justice and how he plans to use it against his enemies. I think there's a legitimate concern about what that could lead to. And I think that's part of why the president put in a 10-year stretch for the pardon term, because that should protect him against anything really up to statute of limitations, basically, for most offenses. On the other hand, though, I got to say that even though I don't think Hunter Biden would have been prosecuted under most circumstances, a pardon at this point will be used against, I think, Democrats when we're pushing to defend the Department of Justice against politicizing it, which is certainly what President Trump plans to do, or President-elect Trump. And, you know, the Patel nomination, I think many of the other nominations, it looks like he's going to try and use it in a way to go against and inflict retribution on people. And I think this sort of gives him ground to argue that, you know, both sides are doing the same thing. So I know that there was a real strong sentiment and you know, wanting to protect Hunter Biden from unfair prosecution. But this is going to be used against us when we're fighting the misuses that are coming from the Trump administration.
Very interesting. Sir, you know, for viewers who don't know, you yourself have worked at the highest levels of our law enforcement and legal communities and worlds. including in high-profile political scandals, Whitewater, for example. Do you think that Republicans have any ground to stand on in terms of the arguments that they're making about the Department of Justice? Is there validity to the feelings that they may have about how the department conducted itself in the first Trump administration and since?
No, I think most of that stuff is really overblown, and intentionally so. I mean, it's Trump. The one thing about Trump is it's not new when, you know, politicians are under investigation by the Department of Justice that they say it's political, a witch hunt. Those are phrases.
Well, this is the thing. I think Biden knew he could sneak this in at the end of his term because people are spooked. I mean, they're more so worried about Trump. You know, it's like they're worried about, Trump destroying shit. A lot of people got Trump derangement syndrome and all kinds of different stuff going on. So, I mean, honestly, just him getting in the office at this point is going to overshadow this. I think Biden knows that nobody, I mean, shit, he ain't going to remember it. You know, his memory's gone, but I don't think the American people ain't going to remember this shit. Like 2-3 weeks from now, nobody going to give a damn. That's how quick everybody's, memory goes. Nobody's going to give a flying ass that he got Biden, you know what I'm saying? You know, he wants to retire from president and he wants his son to come home or not be in jail at least. You know, and honestly, Biden can give a rat's ass. You know, I think too, he feels Obama kind of did him dirty a little bit too, running behind Kamala like that. So interesting, very interesting. All right,
that have been used for decades by people in the crosshairs, say like Senator Menendez, for example, who was recently convicted for misconduct in office. The difference here is that twofold. One is a lot of people started believing Trump, and his MAGA base is fully on board with the argument that the entire Department of Justice is somehow an abuse of power and is just running out of control and needs to be quote unquote reined in. And I think that's one of the big problems. The other one, though, is that he's going to be the president of the United States and will have full control over the Department of Justice. And the Patel nomination for FBI, I think, is a bad omen for what he might want to do with that. And his statements about it have been pretty explicit. So it's pretty concerning, I would say. And what's at risk is the overall rule of law in the United States, which has been a real bedrock for us for more than a century, and we need to fight to preserve that.
Congressman, Democrats did spend, of course, the last campaign strenuously arguing to Americans many of the points that you just laid out. Why, in your view, did Americans vote to put Republicans in charge of the White House and both houses of Congress? And what do you think your party needs to be doing differently going forward?
Well, it seems like the exit interview data that I've seen so far. And,
I mean, I don't think the Democrats care. Like, what are they going to do at this point? Kamala is asking for money to make up for her campaign because she overspent, and this is Biden's last month. I heard he keeps fucking with people overseas. So he might try to start some shit, I mean, they might try to nuke or nerf, the Trump administration before they even get in the office like that. That sounds about right. Nerf the Trump administration a little bit before he gets into office and, make him look bad, cover all of this shit up. Your buddies are still there, so Is what it is.
The post-mortem polling data seemed to indicate that it was really driven by their views of the economy. And I think there were a couple of factors there. One was, I think we spent too much time talking about how good things were from a macroeconomic standpoint. And even though they are, frankly, and, in a lot of ways, the U.S. economy is the envy of the world. But there were a lot of individual people who just weren't feeling it in their daily lives and at their kitchen tables. And so I think they turned to the alternative, and that was Trump, unfortunately. Now, one of the things I think we could have done better there was communicate. I think a lot of times we passed landmark legislation that was helping people and will come to help people. Some of the especially the infrastructure big projects will come to bear, probably in the next year or two. So they take time to roll out. But people didn't know all the particulars, so they heard like initials, ARPA and that kind of thing. But they didn't know specifically what was going to benefit them, with one or two exceptions, like the prescription drug costs for insulin, for example. But overall, I think they didn't really know what we had done, and we didn't do a great job of telling them. And that led them to misunderstand where they stood in the economy and who was going to help them more than the other party. And I think the Democrats have done a great deal to help, but I don't think we got the message across.
All right, Congressman Glenn Ivey, very grateful to have you spend some time with us this morning. I hope you'll come back on the show, sir.
This morning, President Biden is en route to Angola after a holiday weekend spent with family.
All right. Another thing happened, too, that you guys may have noticed overnight, or right now that you guys are, waking up, is that they're sending $725 million buckaroos, $725 million to the Ukraine weapons package. Look at this. Look at this.
The US has announced it's sending Ukraine a new weapons package worth more than $1 billion Australian dollars. Now, it's to help the country's war against Russia, which has allocated around $126 billion in its new defence budget. For Ukraine soldiers on the front line in the Kursk region, a crucial battle is underway.
They have a 3-second window. Rushing out with a US-supplied Stinger and an aging anti-aircraft gun. Watch back. To shoot down Russian attack drones in the fleeting moment they fly overhead in range.
3 kilometers from them.
They could hit that and prepare to. But the radar is wrong, and they pause to hear it. So reposition the entire truck, but suddenly the drone has vanished. It sounded like a decoy, but that usually means others are coming, and the sky is filling up with drones in the next region. A month ago, the targets here seemed endless. November was a record month for drones across Ukraine that usually crash into towns, not this empty field. Their sound slices through the dark.
It was pretty low and close, and while they think this is Ukrainian drones headed for Russia, the Russians also use this moment to take the same routes to try and sneak their drones in.
Right now, a Ukrainian drone attack on Russia is underway, so they've been forbidden, even if they could, to fire. Each night, they watch Russian drones weave their complex way out of their...
So that's another thing, too. The USA is still funding the war. Now Trump is back in office. And now he's going to have to talk to Putin. You're going to have to really talk to Putin now. It's like, okay, what is this that's going on? Y'all are literally funding the war. Honestly, it's literally y'all are fighting a proxy war. Y'all are funding the Ukraine. Honestly, y'all are basically y'all are basically fighting us under another country's face. These are American weapons, that are, anyway.
Tiny range.
What's going on, Jay?
When the defenses fail, the
Good
icy
morning.
silence breaks. Moscow pummeling the border town Sumy, here with a cluster munition missile that killed 12 in an apartment block because Ukraine is still inside Russia, holding positions in Kursk. This thermal drone image shows, just hours earlier, the dawn's fight in Kursk for Alexander.
Зашли штурмовые группы по серому, наверное, контакта практически не было. То есть птицами отработали, пехота дозачистила.
In the positions they've hit, no sign of the North Korean troops meant to be in Kursk. Instead, Chechens, even African mercenaries, but above all, endless waves of Russians.
Damn.
Что у них по людям без лимита. Следующие русские не знают, что произошло с предыдущими русскими. Вот идут туда в неизвестность.
And you can't even tell them drones are up there if it's not really a clear day.
And shelling has damaged his hearing, but he knows what he'd say to President-elect Donald Trump. When Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons in the 90s, we were promised protection.
Вы забрали у нас ядерное оружие, вы нам пообещали, то есть крышу свою, да, вот простым языком сказать. Так держите слово. Нас деребанят, а вы еще пытаетесь, играть какие-то игры, то есть там, свои интересы отставить. А вы должны были дать все, что можно дать.
You say you're trying to play games to defend your interests. You could give everything you could to end this war in 2 days.
Закончилось за 2 дня, то есть. Сейчас, ну, кто
Yeah, it's like at this point, like they're playing games with them because, like, the Trump has ended one war. Once he got in the office, and what are they supposed to do? Wait a whole month while you're doing what you're doing to dang. The war is ugly, y'all.
Верите словам той же самой Америки или Англии, которые, ссутся перед Россией, извините за мой английский.
Confident they can hold out in Kursk, less confident of how long the West expects them to.
The U.S. has announced.
That's crazy.
Putin ally tonight under assault. At this hour, the second biggest city in Syria is now in the hands of rebels for the first time since the war began a decade ago. As its dictator, Putin's close ally, Bashar al-Assad, backed by Russian forces, is clinging to power. The situation there is changing by the hour. The rebels surprising both Putin and Assad, storming Aleppo, toppling statues of Assad's family. Overnight, Putin's Air Force reportedly carrying out strikes in Syria in response. The crisis in Syria for Putin tonight, coming as another one of his allies is in serious trouble. Let me just show you the images out of Georgia tonight. Protesters furious after Georgia's Putin-supported government decided to postpone talks to join the EU. It has led to mayhem and protests on the streets. That move, of course, by the government, one that Putin was celebrating and supporting. But the overwhelming uprising that we are witnessing in these past days, these images you see on the streets of Georgia, are adding to a perilous moment for Putin, who today approved a budget spending 1/3 of Russia's entire national budget on the military. In fact, increasing the size of his standing military for only the 3rd time since Putin invaded Ukraine. Something that appears to be a sign that whatever peace deal is eventually negotiated, Putin's goals remain unchanged. And tonight, a Russian oligarch close to Putin telling Max Seddon at the Financial Times that Putin will reject Trump's peace plan, the first one that Trump's floated there. He said then, quote, "The world is on the brink of nuclear war." That oligarch saying that, also adding a specific warning to Trump, saying that if Trump does not stop U.S. backing for Ukraine, quote, "there will be a radiation zone nobody will ever go into in our lifetime, and the war will be over." Threatening Trump with nuclear war if he doesn't stop supporting Ukraine, something that Putin's state media is betting Trump will do, thanks to his cabinet choices so far. According to journalist Julia Davis, the host of one popular Russian state television program, saying overnight, quote, "What an excellent team is coming along with Trump, not with respect to Ukraine, but as far as everything else goes, if they're allowed to get in, they will quickly dismantle America brick by brick. They are so great." Let's go now to General Mark Hertling, along with Seth Jones, national security expert, who, of course, have been on the ground in Syria, as well as the other places we're talking about here. General, right now you're looking at a crucial moment for Vladimir Putin, and it comes as the Financial Times is reporting that, that oligarch and his inner circle is outright rejecting even Trump's offer for a peace deal. You hear what's happening in Georgia, what's happening in Syria, as Putin is trying to send this massive increase in his armed forces. How crucial is this moment?
We have to put it in perspective. You just named some of the things, Aaron, but Russia's military is in disarray. They are spread across a bunch of continents, not just Syria and Ukraine. Their economy is in free fall, as Fred just mentioned. They face some threats on several fronts and decreased assistance from a bunch of allies that are having problems themselves. So we're seeing, as calm as Putin is and as his spokesman may appear to be, they don't have reason to feel very good about what's going on. They're facing dynamics on every single one of their fronts, which could cause increasing problems. Putin is not in a good place right now. And I hope that, based on our approach toward the Ukrainian war, we take advantage of that.
Well, Seth, that's the crucial question. And the Russian oligarch, who threatened that nuclear weapon, that no one would go in our lifetimes in that zone again and the war would be over. He also added, after rejecting what they say is Trump's potential peace deal, that Zelensky needed to be removed from power, that Trump needed to do that if Trump wanted to end the war. And I'm just curious, Seth, what you think about that in the context of what we heard from Joe Rogan, who obviously supported Trump for president. Joe Rogan implied that he turned down an interview with Zelensky, where, of course, Zelensky would have come on his show to make his case about the war.
Does the U.S. want smoke with Putin, or they don't? You don't have to be the man's friend. So is the U.S. agreeing with Biden, or are they just do they want smoke with Putin, or they don't? It's confusing.
Seth, do you think that's an actual question out there?
And it's like we're fighting them by proxy.
Trump would try to remove Zelensky from power?
Well, Aaron, I was in Ukraine somewhat recently. I don't think there's any indication that the Ukrainians want Zelensky to step down. I don't think there's any interest from Zelensky to step down. And I think this is really the challenge right now that the incoming Trump administration has. There is a huge gap right now between the Ukrainians and the Russians on what they're actually willing to negotiate. The Russians want a weak Ukraine right now. They certainly don't want it as a member of NATO, and I'm sure they want Zelensky to step down. And the Ukrainians want the opposite, which is they want to build up their conventional weapons. They want to be a member of NATO, and they want to keep a strong government led by Zelensky in. This is why it's going to be difficult, I think, to get a ceasefire negotiation in place.
Yeah. And I should point out the Biden administration tonight signing a $775 million additional supplemental package for Ukraine. Obviously, in the scheme of the money that's gone in, it's de minimis, but it's still important. It's a signal they want to get in as much as they can prior to a change in administration. General, I am curious about the impact here of what is happening in Syria, right? As you point out, Putin's air force was crucial in Assad maintaining power. But now Aleppo has fallen for the first time since the civil war began. A war where Bashar al-Assad had been out on public stage, right, at international meetings, sort of back. I don't want to say business as usual. But this sort of seemed to stun not just Putin, but Assad. How much of this do you think stems from Putin being overextended?
I think all of it does, Aaron. And one of the things we have to mention is...
So what's going to happen when Trump gets into office? Is he going to have to talk to Putin, or is he going to have to stop sending weapons to Ukraine? Because what was it? 400... what was it? 725 million? 725 million. Why don't Kamala get a cut of that 725? Well, we already know what she did with the money. They're going in on her because she spent it wrong. Crazy.
We're watching the attacks in Aleppo and Hama and seeing the
Y'all hit the like button, support the show, y'all.
On the ground. We also have to remember that Vladimir Putin loves Syria, and he only loves it for one reason. He has a major naval base at Tartus. He has a major Air Force base at a place called Khamenei, and both of those bases give him access to the Mediterranean. Once he loses that because of a potential overthrow of Assad, he has lost his capability to influence in the Med. He has somewhat lost his influence in the Black Sea based on the war with Ukraine, and his naval bases in the Baltics at Kaliningrad are also threatened. So you're seeing Putin really being tossed into a corner. These bases are all critical for their military presence in these areas, and increased rebel activity in northern Syria and the Turkish incursions have heightened concerns about the Russian supply routes even into the area. Assad is saying Russia is bombing in the area and they're helping counter the rebels. Yeah, they're not bombing with much because they don't have much to bomb with. They've lost a lot of aircraft in Ukraine, and they're, like I said a minute ago, they're in very bad states. And giving anything, and I just comment on your.
So it's like so. What Russia is running out of I wouldn't say ammo, but they don't really obviously. I don't see anybody. China's not supplying them. So what, they're running out of ammo? They can't really keep up because they're not being funded. And I guess they're trying to war in a humane way. How do you do that? So here goes America getting ourselves into some shit that we always shit that we probably got a bigger hand in than what we know. So let's go.
Statement about the Russian ministry saying that they wanted Zelensky removed. Yeah. That's been the objective of Putin since day one in February of 22, to get Putin and to get Zelensky and his government out of Ukraine. So they would meet their strategic objective if they could do that.
And Seth, Putin signing the military budget, a third of the budget going to the military, increasing troops for just the third time since the war began. Obviously, they've had hundreds of thousands, maybe nearly 1 million of wounded or killed in action. The currency hitting the lowest level that it has since the invasion of Ukraine. How much disarray is there in the Russian military? I mean, what's the truth as you can see it, Seth?
Well, look, I think the Russian military is trying to push forward in the area of Donetsk and Luhansk in Ukraine. But the reality is that the Russians have suffered extraordinary casualties and still are on the front lines. They have not been able to effectively take back the Kursk area of Russia that Ukrainians now control. As we've talked about, Aaron, the Russians have suffered about 4 to 5 times more casualties than in all wars since World War II combined. So that's both the Soviet Union and Russia itself. Now to have to deal with Syria right now and Hayat Tahrir al-Sham with really no effective ground force, because Hezbollah is not going to play a role. They did in Aleppo when the Syrians took it. The Iranians had a major ground presence as well. Qasem Soleimani, the former head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard's Quds Force, actually was in the Joint Operations Center. So the Russians are in serious trouble right now on multiple fronts, and I think their military is suffering badly because of it.
And of course, the crucial question will be, what will the Trump administration do? Do they see it as an opportunity, and in which way? Thank you both so very much.
Interesting.
A major breakthrough for Ukraine.
That's interesting.
Putin ally tonight under assault.
The war between Russia and Ukraine is becoming a global nuclear crisis of global concern.
Well, here's the thing. So, a lot of people are like, oh, well, why are they warring back with each other? This is what I found out being here, because there's a lot of refugees from both sides. So, Russia feels that Ukraine is owed to them as a war debt. And I'm not gonna lie, it varies who you run into, because you got some Ukrainians that believe the same thing, and they believe that they should surrender themselves over and stop it. I guess because I guess they're losing their family members because of it. And you got some Russians that they want it to stop and they don't care, and then you got some that's like, yeah, they're owed to us. That's land that's in our backyard. That's Russia. So it's some dirty shit. It's definitely dirty. All right, y'all hit the like button, support the show, subscribe before you hit the poll. Subscribe before you hit the poll. We got 12 votes on the poll. Is the Democratic Party showing a shady hand before leaving office? 25% says they're only looking out for themselves. Another 25% said no, they are preparing. And the unanimous decision says I need to rewrite that. They always been shady. 8% says Kamala wants what? Okay, let's go.
The fate of the war changed completely after the lifting of the restriction on the use of Western long-range missiles on Russian territory. The Ukrainians first used the ATACMS in Bryansk, followed by the Storm Shadow in Kursk, prompting Russia to launch the RS-26 Rubezh intercontinental ballistic missile at Dnipro. In addition, Russian President Vladimir Putin said after the missile test that Russia has the right to use weapons against the military installations of countries that use weapons against it. With these statements, Putin signaled a change in Russia's nuclear doctrine. It was also suggested that in addition to Russia's use of 10,000 North Korean troops on the battlefield, Pyongyang would demand 100,000 more soldiers from its army. All these risky steps taken by Putin have further emphasized the urgent need for the West to prepare for the impending Third World War. In the face of Putin's expansion of his invasion of Ukraine, Germany's preparation of a very striking war plan has recently come to light. Germany's plan against the possible Third World War, which created a bomb effect on the agenda, was of a kind that could shock even Russian leader Vladimir Putin. So what was the content of this plan? What was Germany planning to do against a possible Third World War? Would bridges, roads, airports, secret underground bunkers in Germany be used in this plan? Will NATO countries support Germany by using all these connections and transportation routes? For all these unknowns and much more, our video begins. Before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like to be informed about our content. As we mentioned, a 1,000-page secret plan called Operation Deutschland, which aims to prepare Germany for a possible World War III scenario, has emerged. Up to 800,000 NATO troops will be deployed, and the highly classified documents outline how to defend military buildings and infrastructure, as well as how businesses and people should prepare for possible threats. It also contains critical data on how Berlin should transport 200,000 military vehicles through German territory if the alliance is forced to assist Ukraine's efforts. But how will the control and logistics of both 800,000 NATO troops and 200,000 military vehicles be ensured? According to a report in one of Germany's leading national newspapers, Germany is developing plans to ensure that in the event of a war with Russia, hundreds of thousands of troops would be able to move along the main highway that runs through most of the country. Operation Deutschland involves such a large number of troops and vehicles using Germany's ports, highways, and railways to head east. The plan calls for the Western Intervention Force to be deployed within 3 to 6 months, with a large number of weapons, other equipment, and around 200,000 vehicles, many of which will arrive from Germany's North Sea ports before heading to potential battlefields in the east. According to Operation Deutschland, the A2 motorway, which stretches some 300 miles from Oberhausen in the west to the outskirts of Berlin in the east of the country near the Polish border, will be a vital part of this mass mobilization. The route includes many bridges, which the plan says would be the main target of Russian missile attacks in the event of war. Such possible counterattacks could significantly delay NATO's mobilization efforts. Berlin is therefore already planning contingencies, including alternative routes and temporary bridges. Additional plans are being made to shelter, resupply, and feed the hundreds of thousands of Allied troops passing through Germany. According to the plans, convoys will have the option to stop and rest for supplies every 300 to 500 meters. Such a massive logistical effort may require new powers for the German federal police. Conscription is being considered, and officers could potentially be involved in the management of any POW camp, a report said. The plan also considered the situation of civilians. Operation Deutschland recommends that Germany prepare for the worst-case scenario by increasing self-sufficiency through mechanisms such as diesel generators and wind turbines. The role of business is also...
See, they got all of these weapons and they're posturing to, you know, to do whatever the hell they're gonna do. And it's like, okay, well, you wasted all y'all money doing all. I mean, I don't even know. I can't even say they wasted their money because I don't know. I mean, the war. I don't even know if the war going to be done in the next 2 or 3 months. This is going to be interesting. And then, how do you take back $725 million worth of weapons? If you take back $725 million worth of weapons. Man, what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Also given special attention in the plan. At the meeting in Hamburg, Lieutenant Colonel Jurn Pliszka suggested that companies should train their employees in skills that could be useful in a crisis, such as truck driving. Noting that 70% of Germany's truck drivers are Eastern European, Pliszka said that in the event of war, these drivers might not be in the country. The Bundeswehr is also urging companies to develop contingency plans, including ensuring autonomous power supply, for example through diesel generators. Meetings were held in Hamburg with representatives of trade, industry, and agriculture. Similar events are being organized across the country. Lieutenant Colonel Pliszka emphasized that the threat is now real. He cited cases of espionage, drone flights, the discovery of weapons depots, and sabotage and hacking attempts. Based on intelligence reports, he said that Russia is actively preparing for war and could be ready for new attacks within 4 to 5 years. In response to the increase...
Can y'all expect to fight that long? Well, they've been fighting the whole Biden term, so
increased risks. The Hamburg Senate has strengthened
sounds about right
crisis management and civil defense by creating 40 additional posts. A third internal security company made up of volunteers has also been launched. Germany also conducted its first joint civil-military exercise, Red Storm Alpha, aimed at protecting port infrastructure from sabotage. In the future, a larger-scale exercise, Red Storm Bravo, is planned to cover the transportation and logistics sectors. The Bundeswehr's plans have been supported by both politicians and the business community. The leadership of the Hamburg Chamber of Commerce stated that the resilience of the economy is vital for the country's civil and military defense. German officials believe that all these containment efforts are desperately needed, as Russia is now out of control, both with its nuclear doctrine change and its military partnership with North Korea. In September, the situation became much more critical, officials said, and they are investigating cases of sabotage allegedly involving Russia. In early September, law enforcement authorities in Cologne 1, Germany, launched an investigation into possible sabotage at a NATO base that plays an important role in logistics, including support for Ukraine. The base is used, among other things, to send Ukrainian military personnel who have completed their training from Cologne to Poland. After hearing about these events, the German Bundestag expressed its suspicions that Russia could be behind them. As we can see, Germany is trying to be fully prepared militarily in NATO cooperation against a possible Russian invasion. Operation Deutschland and the security efforts outside of this plan show that Germany has thought through almost everything to counter Russia's efforts to expand the invasion. The emergence of this plan, as we mentioned, comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin officially revised the Kremlin's nuclear strike doctrine, saying that Moscow could use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear conventional weapons attacks. Although Berlin has been criticized for its reluctance to help Ukraine's struggle since 2022, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock warned on Tuesday that the country has nothing to fear from Putin's nuclear policy change. That Germany is not afraid is already becoming clearer with the publication of the Operation Deutschland plan. On the other hand, Norway is supporting Germany's preparations for a possible Russian invasion scenario. Norway and Germany have proposed the creation of critical submarine infrastructure centers to strengthen NATO's role in protecting vital energy.
I don't know what to tell y'all, man. This is all war and war strategy. And most people don't care. You know, shit, especially in America, like we you know, what a luxury, we could care less. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Let me see some hip hop news real quick. If y'all are into the Kendrick and Drake thing, I gave y'all some game on it on the last show. We did a whole show about it. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe and check out the last show that we did. There is a rumor going on that P. Youngin, which was a dude that was signed to NBA YoungBoy a minute ago, they said that he passed away. They said Dump making fun of him. I wonder if this is the same dude that, like, this is one dude that got his lip burnt off. Like he survived like a crazy ass shooting. They said recently he passed away. And I don't see people are, there's some videos out, but people are, I don't see that it says that he passed away. Nothing on Wikipedia. So here we go. Yeah, this is like 2-3 hours ago. And they said in Baton Rouge. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, so I don't know. It said that he passed away. And you got people making fun of him already for passing away, which is kind of crazy. But then again, it's not crazy in the world that we live in. All right. Let's get into this. This cheating wife gives husband a STD, and Angela Yee, which is a long story. I'm not going to tell you all the story behind it, but we're going to cover this. Helps her deceive y'all just got to hear this for yourself. Check this out. Look at this.
You want to tell me a secret?
Okay, so I was out day drinking a couple months ago and hooked up with this guy. Ended up getting an STD. I went and got it cleared up.
Hold on, no. We're gonna have to listen to that one more time. Did she say?
So she said she was out day drinking with a guy and ended up getting an STD.
I caught an Hold on.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
You want to tell me a secret?
Okay, so I was out day drinking a couple months ago and hooked up with this guy. Ended up getting an STD. I went and got it cleared up, but I keep getting it back, which means I gave it to my husband, and now I have to tell him so he can get rid of it so I can get rid of it.
Ooh, what STD was it?
Trichomania.
You said chlamydia?
No, trichomania.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't even know what that is. It's the first time I've ever even heard of it when I got it.
That's
Dr.
borderline.
Bezos here.
It's Dr. Ice here. So I'm gonna tell you what. That's some new shit.
Why
You've been
does Ice
diagnosed
wear
with-
Viso
You've been
on all
diagnosed
shows
with
anyway?
trichomania. That's borderline chlamydia. But you also been diagnosed with double dipping. You heard? But we not here to judge you though. Honestly, we not here to hell yeah we are. Judge you. You know what I'm saying? But how do you who do you feel in your heart you got it from? Like
It had to be that day drinking guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the day drinking guy.
Do you have that guy's number? Is there a way to contact him or no?
I don't have his number. I mean, if I seen his face, I can recognize him, but it was really just a random on a bad day.
How are you going to tell your husband?
I don't know yet. I'm going to tell him because, like, I keep coming back, so I have to tell him. I'm just going to tell him that I got STD and that I need him to go get tested so that I can get rid of it.
Maybe you should tell him it was dormant and then
you gotta tell him though. Maybe you should tell him it was dormant. She's married. Doesn't know who was busting the cheeks.
Dang.
Fast, not slow.
That's crazy that Angela Yee is telling her to tell her husband it's dormant. Add on to the trauma that his wife gave him. His wife cheated on him. And then on top of it, STD. Also, we might get back into the politics. California lawmakers begin to begin a special session to Trump-proof the state. So, y'all might start seeing that happening. I've never heard of that word before, but Trump-proof the state. Make the state unfuckwittable so Trump can't fuck with it. Interesting. We'll get back into it. Let's go.
Gave her STD. Can't remember the face of the guy, so it's multiple men who she was letting hit. Keeps coming back. Probably because she's been intimate with her husband because she feels guilty. And this is just effed up.
That's the other thing, because that's what they said. They were like, you could have had it for a long time. I mean, I've only been married for a year and a half, but that's a long time for something to be dormant. So
okay. I just did some research for you, right? How can you get trichomania, whatever, if no one cheats? And it says that you can actually get it through extensive literature. It shows that you can actually get it through towels and toilet seats and from swimming pools.
Even still.
Yeah, so, definitely help her lie. That's the spirit. Help her ass lie.
If I'm being honest with myself, I gotta know where it came from, so.
And you need to let him know because as a man, he ain't going for the toilet seat. I got it from the toilet seat.
And if he snaps and starts unsubscribing shit from life, now he's wrong.
But he ain't having that.
He's definitely not going to believe you if you try to say that.
I don't believe it, so I already know.
Maybe you should set somebody up to cheat with him.
Look at this. Damn. Damn. Okay.
Are you guys listening to this shit? This right here is crazy. Giving her tips on how to trick her husband into thinking he's the one that did it. This is evil. Way up with Angela Yee. No one's gonna repost this and be like, yo, what's she saying? Wait, let somebody in the male space say some shit like this. Like set her up with your boy and then have her.
Yeah, like no matter how fucked up they say the manosphere is, and the advice that men give other men, and Andrew Tate and all these other people, women could just run around saying this shit And nothing. Gaslight your husband while he finds out. Okay, wow. Because somehow is never their fault. They gotta make it, you know, they gotta make it his fault. You might have to check out She-Ra7. She did a video recently, and the video said, "Get him obsessed to give you money." As y'all know, there was a young lady that went by the name of Isis, and she got on the internet and lied, and it went viral recently last week. And she said one of her tricks, a guy that she married, she lied and was like, oh, he was touching their kids, his biological kids. She had 2 sons, and him and her got 2 daughters. And she lied to her audience and everybody, and honestly got a lot of fucking money for lying on that man, saying that he was touching her children with their children. Just disappeared. Nothing happened. And this is the advice that women give men. I recently just did a show talking about, was dating coaching and dating coaches a good idea? We'll see.
Lie to her, or a conversation viral immediately. Men are such dogs. I can't stand them.
You're so sweet. I'm telling you. You wouldn't even go for it.
I'm kidding.
No, you're
Hey,
not.
no, look, before you leave though, one last thing. Another way you can get that is like having sex without showering. Like say, you know, you and your husband,
Ooh,
y'all
okay.
gotta shower before y'all have sex. You can get trichomania that way. So maybe you should just tell them like, baby, honestly, I think from here on out, we both need to just shower before we have sex, you know, because I got trichomania and I believe you have it too. So now we need to take this medicine. There you
Bro, what are you doing?
Come on,
You gotta have a man with pushback on. That's why this show probably, you know,
go wham.
I don't trust
I'm gonna
Bezo.
use that. I'm gonna slide it right in there.
disgusted. First comment here says, this is wild. Why y'all giving her tips on how to further trick this man into a cold world? And somebody responded back and says, exactly. Here's another person who says that part. Here's another comment that says, raw with a stranger while married is some wild stuff. Here's another comment that reads, so telling the truth isn't an option? No, not for her, it's not. Here's somebody else who added, wow, if I see his face, I can recognize him. She could have gave her husband, I'm assuming that's supposed to say, HIV, and wouldn't even be able to say who gave it to her. What a sick world. And what a sick woman. Another comment here says, not ready for marriage. Only a year in with the random. No one is perfect, but wow. Here's somebody else who says, these people can't be serious. Another comment here reads, raw dogging a stranger is wild work. Here's another comment that reads, child, let me grab my coffee. This too much. Not cheating on your husband, girl. And somebody else here says, cheating is one thing, but going raw with a stranger is crazy. At least it is something they can get rid of with antibiotics. Sheesh. Somebody else here says, going bareback with a complete stranger is sick business. Here's another comment that says, the sisterhood is for real. Angela Yee said to this woman to tell her husband it was dormant. She meant this with true intentions of her not getting caught. Sad world we live in. Fellas, trust no woman, this commenter says, even this podcast. I believe in that saying, right? People have to earn your trust, especially in the dating market. They have to earn your trust. You can't accomplish anything without trusting somebody, but definitely where you begin and start is definitely trust that is earned. You see, this is why when I see a lot of modern women crying about how hard dating is and how they can't find a man, etc., etc., and they really, really disregard channels where men talk about what men truly value in relationships. And you hear them complain and struggling, and you see the data that predicts that they're going to be, most of them are going to be single and childless.
Because nobody gives a fuck about men.
I think that might be best.
Nobody gives a fuck about men, and the men that do, they barely can get the support that they need. That's crazy.
Because they choose that eventually. But not only that, I don't think most people have a realistic expectation of what marriage is like. I can imagine this chick thought, oh, when I get married, all my troubles are going to go away. I won't have to put in work into this marriage. All my troubles are going to go away. I don't have to put too much work into this marriage. I can still be my 304 self. I could still do what I love to do. What? The girls' trips with a bunch of single friends. She wasn't out there by herself. The time out, partying, right? Drinking, getting drunk, day drinking. All those different habits. Once the marriage, once the improvement in life, once the husband, once the man, once the family, but not willing to change what's inside. That's what you have a lot of out here. And I think every man who wants, because if you don't want marriage, even if you just want a long-term relationship, exclusive relationship, even non-exclusive relationship, but at that point, you know, you're not taking any woman seriously. That's a little bit different, right? You shouldn't care because you're not committed, right? You haven't had that conversation of commitment. I'm talking about guys who are in relationships where they're committed, they're having these conversations. You got to be extremely careful with the type of woman who you choose to commit to out here. Have to be extremely careful because this generation is full of 304s. It truly is. You have to make sure that you vet these women, understand where they're coming from, and
bro, you got to know how to vet. Shit, you got to vet your own damn self. Honestly, too, I'm gonna tell y'all some crazy shit in relationships is that if the husband doesn't respond the way that he should, which is realizing that his woman is cheating, the woman can turn around and be like, oh, well, he should be responding a certain way. So he might not be as faithful as, you know what I'm saying? Because if you know you're not cheating, that doesn't happen at all. That doesn't happen at all.
That you know that they're mature enough and have done the work enough that they understand that they're ready for what they want, what they're asking for. Whether that's a relationship or marriage. Listen, fathershaverights.com for men who are soon to be married. Legal information to protect yourself. Consider joining Blue Brothers, a community of men who value fatherhood. As always, I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.
That's crazy. Forgot what else I wanted to show y'all something, but I totally forgot. Yeah, that's crazy, you know. And then you can call into a radio show and listen to Angela Yee, formerly of the Breakfast Club, tell you to lie to your husband like that. And she does that on lip service also. You know, you got wives calling their husband a simp for marrying her with the 3 kids. Let me show y'all that real quick. Let me get into this.
A lot if we really feel it. It's the ones we don't like. We make a.
Hold on. Let me actually, before we get into that, I want to show y'all this. Okay, it disappeared. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. Nobody gives a damn about men. You know. Hold on.
That the only thing a man gets from a woman is nasty.
I'm not going to tell you that. So you tell me what a man feel he get. No, since you know what a man feel a man get, tell me what a man feels he get. Tell me.
I love that y'all making the point.
Tell me what a man feels he get, Azar.
I'm not a man, so I'm not going to speak for a man.
She was speaking for a man the whole time?
You just spoke for a man.
Bye.
You just sat here for 20 minutes telling me how a man feel what he get. That's all we get.
That's not true.
No, listen.
He's telling you.
Exactly. And this is why y'all don't want to care what man wants.
I care.
She ain't
Say
listening.
It. Say it. Say it, friend. I care.
All we get is sex.
That's your reward.
Let me put that in context.
Yeah, that's your reward. Yeah.
You are not about to buy not one man a motherfucking house. You're not about to buy one man a motherfucking car. You don't got to go bust your ass to buy a car, a house, pay a mortgage.
So
like,
is a kid not getting something? Is me caring?
It's already been stamped. You're supposed to be the what? Provider. We have the pressure. I have to figure out how to buy this house, build this house, get this house. The Rock, who 10 times the salary for the ring. We have to do all these things. Oh, there's a sound. What is that? Let me go downstairs.
What do you think about that?
Niggas been saying the
Someone's
same shit for
frustrated.
years, man.
He is.
Yeah.
I think maybe the female, the lighter skinned one. I think maybe she didn't want to understand where he's coming from.
But she's a feminist.
It didn't seem like that to me. So when he's mentioning certain things, her face expressions kind of said it all. The other woman seemed a little bit more open to what he was saying. But I take it the question is, what does a man get?
I think women are out of touch with men and what they want, and they
don't
think,
care.
oh, yeah, obviously a man wants to smash, but there's more to it.
Do you know what's crazy? Sorry. Because women will say all men want is a smash. So if a man is saying
that's a big part of a dude,
yeah. So the fact that he's saying is that all says everything, because men want a smash. So I want a regular beat. So if he's saying, okay, you're giving me a regular beat, but what else? Then that says a lot.
Let me ask you a question. Here's a question. Here's a serious question. Okay, ladies, if you didn't
My boy Patrice
have
O'Neal.
a vagina, like say it was a terrible train accident, right? And the doctor was like, we have to remove your pussy right away or you're gonna die. How would you keep your man past, you get a 2-month guilty, I can't leave the bitch right away because she just lost a pussy in a train accident. Can't just walk right out on her. How would you keep your man past that if you didn't have a vagina? Wow. Nothing? You can talk. Suck his dick. Okay. Mouth. Asshole. Okay, great. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I've been getting pussy beamed the whole show, right? But I give women the opportunity to say, I'm gonna make myself worth more. But you just classified yourself as a series of holes. But I'm supposed to treat you special, but you're just a bunch of holes for yourself. No one said learn how to play Xbox, learn how to play pool, tell better stories, get another bitch that got a pussy to come on in. Well, look, whatever.
Because what else are you going to give me other than a beat?
I think today a man is just good for some D and some money. Like you said, if I get married to you,
no, it's a lot more than that.
Expected of me.
Nah, it's a lot more than that. But okay.
But when it comes to you, you just show up. Your presence is enough. And I think a lot of dudes, like, they're just checking out. And I saw something, what was it, the other day about the birth rates in the West kind of thing going down.
I think I saw it as well, yeah.
Because
drastically.
Yeah, so because a lot of people, men and women, are saying this ain't it, because there's issues on both sides. But remember, women want the relationships. They're not trying to smash.
Yeah.
Well, look at it like this. After COVID, dating has changed. And a lot of people haven't picked up on it. I've picked up on it, which is why you guys can go to my website and you can get the book for free. I have a free book if it's still available. But I have a free book that you guys can go get. It's called Dating After COVID. Really dope book, and it explains all of this. Why the people got to recalibrate themselves. Of course, the birth rate's gonna drop. Then also too, you have to look at what some of the pandemic was used for. You know what I'm saying? It was used to keep people indoors and to also create children. A couple of babies actually came out of it. But now that people are somewhat outside again, now you got what you got. All right, so let's go.
So I think, the stats where they say between, 2030, pretty much half the women are going to be single and childless. We're now seeing this.
I definitely see that. Because at first when I heard those stats, I thought, really? But the more and more I sit and see things.
Modern women don't give a fuck about stats these days.
It's like, wow, I think it's going to happen.
It's going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on, Raven? Raven said, nigga, fuck your book and dating in 2024 is over. What's going on, man? Shout outs to you, man. Yeah, man, go get the book, man. I put a lot of effort into that book, man. I like to make books that, make it seem like I'm talking about one thing. And I will talk about that thing, but I'm talking about something completely different. But definitely, y'all go get this book by DJ Kuda, Dating After COVID. And make sure to type in as much as you want to support, or you can type in 0. You can type in 0 and do that whole add to the cart thing. I don't know why it doesn't work on my end for some weird reason while I'm on live with you guys, but yeah, I'm a bit under the weather, but it's NDO, man. No days off. Shout outs to everybody in the building. Good morning. Make sure you guys hit the Cash App. Support the show. Almost 2 hours into today's show, giving y'all some good information, man. Keeping y'all, up to date on everything that's going on. Let me show y'all what's going on also with Big Mala. Let's go.
Where is this whole video? I gotta find this. Y'all think she's drunk? I mean,
she look crazy.
Oh shit.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Back at you, brother. You are such an extraordinary leader, and we have become lifelong friends. I just, in front of everyone, I want to thank you, Tim. You see the...
So she said that she needs... She went into debt running her campaign.
People, you care about the people. You believe in uplifting the dignity to which all people are entitled, and you do it and you have a sense of fun when you're doing it. And it means so much to me and to Governor Walz that you knocked on doors, you called friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now
Jesus. Man.
I need you to show up at the campaign office.
Yeah.
You put in the time. It was personal for you. So all that work that you did that was about engaging with other people, engaging with perfect strangers and in their face seeing a neighbor. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion. And I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. and you have the same purpose.
It feels like shit is weird when women like really try to motivate people. Shit is really weird when people try to, especially when women try to motivate people, because they tell other people what somebody told them. And it's like when you personalize like a motivational speech or personalize, genuine information or whatever that you're giving somebody, when they try to regurgitate that, it's not genuine. And if you can read people really good, it sounds like they're trying to convince themselves other than you. Have y'all noticed that? Like, it sounds like they're trying to convince themselves of what they're trying to tell you other than you. Like, it's like she just came up with that on the fly and she don't believe that shit. Y'all subscribe before y'all hit the poll. 28 people in the building. Let's try to get at least 5 supporters on the Cash App. We definitely need support on today's show. Good morning. You said she did that. She pulled that heist first for bill, gone with no. Yeah, like she's asking, the Republicans, the Democrats, to help her out. She went into debt during her campaign. So imagine that. Did we dodge a bullet? Because if Kamala would have won, she would have gotten the White House in debt. Now you got Biden pardoning his son, and then America sending another $725 million to Ukraine.
That you did. This mission that we have, it takes hard work.
You said that.
But as you've heard me say many times, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And in doing our work, we will remain committed. And on this
damn, she's gonna go on for another minute.
I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving with the ability of this moment to just remember there's so much to be thankful for. And so I wish for you that you are surrounded by the people you love and love you.
Yep.
I encourage you to be around family in whatever way you compose that family, or to take a moment and just reflect on all the good you have done and all the good you have to do.
She said all of this already.
No. With that, I would have no wish. Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving from Doug and me and our family.
So there's been a lot of people.
Like, you see one Kamala speech, you've seen them all. And what happened to the sisters going crazy? You're like, this is what we're getting. We're getting women calling their husbands simps for marrying them. They don't even care about this fake ass election bullshit anymore. I don't even see a thank you, black man, for voting with us. Black man voted 80%. We were the most demographic of men that voted for Kamala. Blue Day Load. I told you after a week or two that shit gonna be gone. They don't give a damn about no goddamn politics. They don't even know what the hell they give a damn about these days.
Them do it all.
So you ain't like your husband.
I ain't trying to embarrass my husband even more on the internet, but he was a simp and I seen the opportunity and I took it.
Well, I'm saying what his qualities was.
I mean, for one, he accepted the fact that I have 3 kids.
So you got 3 kids too?
So I wanted to have a conversation with you guys here today on the back of a piece of
How's the
content that I just
tutorials and
uploaded
reviews?
to my Instagram none too long ago. Now, I typically upload short form content up on the Instagram more often than not to get an idea that the way that I'm thinking about a piece of content is the way that my audience thinks about a piece of content. You could think of it as a test and learn. Nevertheless, the video that I just posted is getting the exact reception that I thought that it would. So I wanted to take that short form piece of content on IG and then bring it up to YouTube to have a much more long or just longer form discussion. If you want to follow me on my Instagram, by the way, it's @TheRealMTR. And trust me, in a second, I'm going to go over this particular video because it is so damn ridiculous. All right. But before we get due, let's start this off the correct way. Let me preface this conversation and say,
So I want to play this real quick, because this is how people in the manosphere are looking at Cooley. You know, you got a lot of fake SYSBM cats running around the manosphere. Shout outs to Raven. Raven's a real one. Going in on Cooley. To this day, they're still going in on Cooley. Don't even know why. They're more mad that he hooked up with a single mother than he is. which is his 2-time baby mama. Damn, Negroes are dumb.
Saying that it's obvious that men today are facing epidemic after epidemic. What is it that I mean by that? Well, there's currently an epidemic of self-deletion rate, at least successful self-deletion rate amongst young men. There is an epidemic of feminism which seeks to control as well as destroy men. There's an epidemic within our court systems, including incarceration rates and length of time of incarceration. There's an epidemic within the family court system. There is an epidemic of paternity fraud. There is an epidemic of things within our mainstream media propaganda, such as hashtag believe all women. There is an epidemic of being cast out for the things that you believe in lieu of what is popularized within the typical mainstream narrative, which, might I add, that for the common average man doesn't give a F about you. They don't care about you, and they show that to you time and time again, which is why it is so important within your life to generate your life for you. Because there's nobody out here that will save you. The world owes you nothing. The world owes you no pity, and you must understand that. Because if you do not go out of your way to protect yourself by any means necessary, evil will creep in. And evil people will do absolutely evil things in order to one-up you, to take advantage of you, or just to simply...
Well, mediocre tutorials and reviews is still a guest in the manosphere, so he got to play the role. I get it. But oftentimes, too, you'll go look for the guy, and when you try to tell the guy, you know, when you try to tell the guy, hey, bro, leave her alone. Don't go for that. The guy, the guy will fight you. You know, the guy will bite your hand. You know, the guy that you're trying to save, mind you. You know, you got to tell dudes in 2024, hey, she tried to shoot at you. Hey, she tried to get you set up. Leave her alone. They don't want to listen. 2 hours and 2 minutes into the show. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. It's Player Talk Radio. Going out of my way to give y'all some really good content. Hopefully you guys are learning and enjoying, soaking up this good game on this Tuesday. Let's get it.
Use you. They will stop at nothing to control you, and they will shame you into a reality that only benefits them, yet shits on you. And at the end of it, we'll laugh about it on a podcast for the likes,
right,
the clicks, the validations, just like the lovely young woman that we're about to go through right now. Now, as I say all of these different things, it's not all, but there's such a large number of them that we must have conversations in regards to this, all right? And you need to be an expert in identifying these harlots before they creep their ways into your life, as well as take advantage of you.
I don't know about that. Because I gave guys the game, taught guys. And it's not even about them identifying the harlots. When they identify the harlots, they run straight towards them. To the point you got to be like, no. Don't run towards her. Go that way. What are you doing? These dudes want the girls with the tattoos on their knuckles. Like, it's like, bro, identifying a harlot is the worst thing that can happen to these dudes because they don't stop. It doesn't stop them. It don't even scare them. And hell, a lot of these dudes are incels, so that's like committing suicide in their head anyway. So in a fucked up way, this is kind of showing them what they want. I've been doing this way longer. Doing this for a long time. Not even worth showing these dudes these days. And I'm not even gonna lie, and respectfully, all the shit that I tell you, mediocre tutorials tell you, all of the shit that we tell you, niggas will still date a bitch with tattoos on her knuckles. Let's go.
This is why they hated Kevin Samuels so much. This is why
they
hate.
Because Kevin Samuels would have still dated a woman with tattoos on her knuckles.
Information that men seek out on male podcasts because it weakens them. Information is power. The more information that you have that you can absorb and to deploy within your daily toolkit, the less powerful that these demon, serpent, ratchet women can be. Let's get into the content. Trigger warning before we get started within this. Simple-minded chicks will simple mind, but it's just a damn shame because undoubtedly the words that she says is infectious to others. Let's go.
Do a lot if we really feel it. It's the one.
No, it actually isn't. It's because she knows that her husband is locked in. He really can't go nowhere. That's why She-Ra 7, she can still do the content that she does. They could just straight up insult their husband and know he's not gonna go nowhere. He's locked in. Let's go.
Because we don't like, we make them do it all.
So you ain't like your husband.
Look. That's not funny.
I ain't trying to embarrass my husband even more on the internet, but he was a simp and I seen the opportunity and I took it.
Well, I'm saying what his qualities was.
I mean, for one, he accepted the fact that
And remember, as a wife, your representation of your husband, just as much as your husband is a representation of you.
3 kids.
So you got 3 kids too?
I have 3 children.
Just listen to the logic of what she said, because again, this epidemic within mainstream culture that modern men today face, see, over there they say that a man is weak for not taking on a woman with children. But over here we tell you, don't do that shit. And in fact, if you do that and you do not have children of your own, that is simp behavior. But they chastise you for listening to content like me. And in fact, they build feminist organizations up in order to try to take down content creators like me when it's the goddamn truth. So what is it going to take? Women saying the exact same thing that I am saying for it to finally permeate to the masses? She said it herself. He was a sucker. Set him up for the lick. And he's got no one to blame but his damn self. But I keep telling y'all, the world owes you nothing. If snake charmers take advantage of you, then it's your own damn fault. Let's continue to cook.
And the niggas supposed to come with the bag?
They supposed to come. And that's why you have to have a bag.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you gotta take care of me and my kids.
I gotta take care of you and your kid, which is so crazy to think about because these women will give their womb up to dudes not making 6 figures, but then expect that the product of themselves on a dating marketplace today is supposed to be valued more later on after they've given their womb away. But hopefully this brother is not so far gone that he can't take what's left of his dignity, what's left of him, and leave this treacherous demon, witch, serpent woman. My man is out here financing another man's kid and getting disrespected by his wife. Crazy.
Oh. Why you automatically get these responsibilities?
Get it.
Stop it.
I'm not playing.
And how many niggas doing this?
I'm between 2 or 3.
I'm saying, how many have you ran into in life?
Okay, so let's say I run into 100 dudes.
Hey, y'all not picking up on it. She cheated on her husband already. She passed a certain level of disrespect. She cheated on her husband already. Let's go.
Probably about 4 of them.
Yeah, about the odds. I fuck with
about-
that now. You.
probably about
That
4
about,
of
that
them.
about the odds. All right.
I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, that's
Up
not.
the
Yeah, no.
number.
So that kind of sound like you are delusional. You just catching just a sucker born every day.
Basically.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying. A nigga that's so you ain't never caught no nigga that's worth something doing that though. Am I kidding?
I probably have one. See, the way this game works is
The
you
game.
have to get with a man who ain't used to dating bad, do a lot. If you
Oh, she said not used to dating a bad chick, as if this is a bad chick. Ma'am, I got more hair on my head than you do. It's always the ones with the biggest backs and the longest nails that think that they are bad chicks. It's absolutely ridiculous. But understand the reality.
I mean, she is bad. She's horrible. I already showed y'all the video where there was a whole bunch of women that thought they were bad. Well, at least one of them. So you got a baddie from Big Bakistan telling you, well, this is what happens when you date a bad chick. You know? One of the worst things ever. All right, let's go.
What's happening here is that she saw a sucker and licked it. And that sucker, that simp, that weak man got taken advantage of. Just as I said before, young men, you got to understand, how are you placing yourself, or how are you thinking about yourself, your value within your confidence, within a relationship, and where you could participate in a way that makes sense for you and not become a stepdaddy to 3 kids with a disrespectful wife. There's so many women that actually think this way, but don't have the balls like this woman to get up on a podcast and to talk about it within this manner. But they know that it places them lower on the dating totem pole, but they just don't want to admit that and feed into the propaganda that it's valuable for them to be a strong single mother. But I commend this woman for her free game that she's letting y'all hear right now, because it paints a larger picture onto the epidemic of simps, or to the epidemic of white knights who are unable to have clear dialogue with someone like me in regards to behaviors like this. You cannot turn a hoe into a housewife. You cannot turn a disrespectful Lilith or a tyrannical Delilah into a housewife. It is physically impossible and inevitably. It was actually more crazy about this is that no matter what it is that I say, she has already won. So it may be too late for that brother over there, but for everyone else that watches content like this, just understand the importance of not getting taken advantage of. Let's look down at some of these comments. I hate when people see these videos and assume that she's speaking for all women. Well, I hate when women watch content like this and don't speak up against it. Y'all quick to come over here and to cast judgment on the things that we say or the things that we tell men. But you let this type of content go unabated. And I'm not talking about the MTRs, by the way. They know better. It's kind of hard not to. I know what you mean, though. Can't put none besides you MFs. Honestly. Let's keep going. Stop bashing her honesty. Isn't that what we beg for? Her being honest? We need more women like her. I can only assume that this person is being sarcastic. Yeah, the honesty is cool, but she wasn't honest when getting into this relationship. She made it seem like all was good and that he's not a sucker for taking her in. Let's keep going. I guarantee you, she dies alone. She makes her whole household look trash. You know, I even think about this point right here, but this is a mother, right? Whose sons are going to find her content, whose daughters may seek out her content and see the way that she disrespects her father. But what does she care? She's getting likes and clicks off of this, right? So it must all be worth it. Let's keep going. She said, it's the ones we don't like. Cold, cold. I hope she don't have sons. Yeah. It's the ones that they don't like, that they don't treat like this, but the nice guys get treated disrespectfully. Why are men dogs? Because women like this have created them. A lot of the behavior of modern men today is a response to the change of women. Men have not been changing. Women have been changing on the backs of feminism, on the backs of hormonal birth control, and so many other things. But they are absolutely changing, especially if you consider the cultural constructs that allows for that change to occur, and the constant message from even other content creators even on YouTube, which doesn't speak ill of behavior like this, but instead speak.
No, men have been changing. It just got worse, you know, and they're not changing fast enough. You know, we got to teach modern men exactly how to have fucking eyes, which is ridiculous. You know, it's like, bro, you don't feel that? Like that doesn't hurt you at all, huh? You just gonna be Superman the whole time to her and her kids. Okay, you know. And this kind of stems back to the Cooley situation. I wonder why mediocre tutorials and reviews hasn't picked up on the Cooley situation. Maybe he doesn't want to fumble another content creator again. And I hope he's aware that it makes both of them look corny. But let's go.
Speaks ill of dudes that try to learn about this information. Anyway, that has been your video. This has been your damn discussion. I want to see your comments down below. What do you guys think?
So yeah, this is where we are. Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Get into it.
Are there any older men who like single moms in their 30s? Maybe want to show them a good time?
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another session with the older man. Today, my friends, we're going to talk about what single mothers really think when they're looking for a man. Yep. This is a video that has been going viral, and you know, one of the biggest things that had made this channel popular, actually blew up the channel, I think I gained over 3,000 new subscribers very early in this video, was a short that I did called 7 Reasons Not to Marry a Single Mother. I don't want to play it here again, but the point is that single mothers have always been a serious point of contention when it comes to men. And I have warned men from day one, just don't do it. If you want any success in a relationship, it is one of the biggest risks that you'll ever take as a man. Let's get into this one video here where this woman is warning you about being a single father.
If you don't want to end up heartbroken or broke AF, there are 5 things you need to know before you date a single mom. Number 1, you're not her priority. She's got a kid, the kid's the priority. Kids require a lot of attention just to keep the little beasts alive and unharmed. Just the tip number 2, if she's a crappy mom, she's not a keeper. If she can't even care about her kid, she's not going to be able to care about you. Just the tip number 3, it's a package deal.
Why do you need someone to tell you this? That's the bigger problem. Like, why do you need someone to tell you this? Like, it makes no sense. Like, this is a no-brainer. Like, you don't need nobody to tell you this. And the funny part is that even with this whole Cooley situation, this even makes this lady telling you this even more hilarious. And a lot of dudes aren't even paying attention. They just want the in-house. So that's what it is. All right, let's go.
Even if she's an amazing woman, no matter what, if she's coming out of a split or if she's a single mom, she's got baggage. We've all got baggage, but she's got extra baggage. Which brings us to just the tip number 4. You're not my daddy. I know if you've ever dated a single mom, you've heard that. Just the tip number 5. Baby daddy is also part of the package deal. Unless baby daddy died, he's still in the picture, even if he isn't. If you don't want to end up heartbroken.
Yeah, she laid it out perfectly. And we here in the red pill space, we know exactly the risk that's involved with it. You know, listen, there are some great mothers out there. Please don't think that I am painting this whole scenario with the same freaking brushstroke. Yes, there are exceptional single mothers out there that would be more than happy to be on your program as a man and will stay with you and be devoted to you and have all the kids for you, etc. But the large majority out there don't have your best interests in mind. And it pains me to say this, but man, combine a single mother, black woman who have babies out of wedlock, and the total and utter disrespect and disdain black women have for black men, this is a bloody recipe for disaster for men in the black community. Because black women have been conditioned differently about being a single mother than any other race.
None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility. And then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
Thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. You know, if a girl, you know, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her, you know.
It's sad that we still have to go all the way back to like these old dated, you know, videos to literally prove a point in 2024, and we still haven't evolved. We still haven't evolved. We have to go back to these old videos in 2024 to prove a point. No evolution.
I'm not going to stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condoms?
Girls don't like them things.
Back in the day, if the man was in the house and the woman wanted that government check, the man had to leave the house. That wasn't the same for a woman who had a white husband, a white farmer. He wasn't kicked out of the house in order for her to get government subsidies. But the black men and the black woman, that's the problem that they face.
They don't like them things. They'll tell you to take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling change in values. 25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home. That is true no longer. Most black children are now growing up without their fathers. The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today, nearly 60% of all black children are born out of wedlock. Timothy said his children are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either. For LaDawn and Clorinda and Timothy, and many more like them in cities all over America, the traditional family no longer exists. It has vanished, and something new is taking its place. Single women and the children they're rearing alone are the fastest growing part of the black population. What becomes of the black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around. What's the child gonna learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they gonna teach the children? So it's not racism that I'm fighting right now. It's the lack of motivation. You see, I'm not even talking about racism. Maybe later on we'll get back to that. But I think we are destroying ourselves.
So the black struggle in America is significantly different. The black single mother has been conditioned differently. She's been...
And this is boomer humor. This is boomer humor, honestly. You know, at this point. Y'all hit the like button. We got a bunch of people in the building and we're behind on the likes. Y'all can subscribe to the channel and definitely support the show via Cash App. Giving y'all some good game this morning, y'all. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. If you in the building, tap in. Support the show. It is 2025, basically. And we still got to look at videos from 1986. 1986, like it's an old school Chevy from 1986. Stuff that we already know. Stuff that the manosphere has already put out there. And not even just the manosphere. Shit, even the Hotep's put this out there. So why haven't we learned? Why haven't we moved on from this type of stuff? Why is it still a problem plaguing the community? Crazy.
Been told she don't need a man. And like I said in earlier videos, whatever happened in America will be transmitted to other parts of the world. So what happened in the Caribbean, where American television is pervasive, where the message from America is king, it's the same thing that happened in the Caribbean. All these black women thinking they don't need a man.
Hold on real quick.
Wedlock. Same thing happened in the UK.
What's going on, Joe? We're going to get back to this. Look at Whoopi. Yeah, it is a world without God. And it's a world with people that haven't embraced that they like sin. Look at Whoopi's crazy ass. Look at this. She went off on a lady because Joe Biden pardoned his son. Look at this. Hold on. Look at this. Giving y'all the game this morning. Y'all hit the Cash App. Let's get it.
The View host Whoopi Goldberg has unleashed on her co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin over Joe Biden's pardoning of his son Hunter. Goldberg and Griffin got into a heated exchange after Griffin claimed Joe Biden lied in the past when he repeatedly said he would never pardon his son Hunter.
Because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long. I'd stop calling it a lie. Okay, why repeat it?
Now Whoopi is still mad because of Kamala not getting the election. Kamala recently came out and said that she need more money because she fumbled the bag for the election, right? Even though she got over $1 billion, right? Bro, did we just dodge a huge bullet? Or what, man? We had to have dodged the biggest bullet on the planet. No pun intended. And everybody would know. I mean, obviously Biden lied, but he had to get his boy up out of there, man. You know, would you let your kid rot in jail like that? Of course he's gonna lie. He just couldn't be so blatant about it. Not while he was in office. He didn't know if he was gonna run again. Thank you. Come again. Let me release my son because I don't know if I'm gonna run again. I don't even think Whoopi got kids. Not saying you got to have kids to understand why he did what he did, but the Democrats don't give a fuck about, like, they will lie to you. They will look you dead in the face and lie. That's sounds about right. Lie. What are y'all gonna do anyway? Oh, he lied. And that's it. What, you gonna put his son back in jail? Oh, he lied. Democrats been lying to y'all for years. You and them have demonstrated both of y'all don't give a fuck. He lied.
Please say you're not going to, and you do. And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just
what's going on, Star
a
P?
system that seems like it only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone.
Now you mad and want to yell at a white woman cause he lied. No, stay out of this, sister act. Act like a sister. Stay out of it. Oh, people moving in. People moving out, head ass. Stay out of it. And them blonde locks are crazy. Y'all should see the thumbnail. You like a dyke. All right, my bad. All right, let's...
Who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think, for many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with.
The internet reacted to the bust up with this commentator saying, Whoopi Goldberg says people need to stop calling Biden a liar for flip-flopping on pardoning Hunter Biden. Biden said he wouldn't pardon his son. He did. This is by definition a lie. And this commentator agreed, saying just in, Whoopi Goldberg says what Hunter Biden did is okay because he was addicted to drugs, unlike Trump, who is not a drug addict. Remarkable. Goldberg said people need to stop accusing Biden of lying when he said he would not be pardoning his son. And it seems like Whoopi Goldberg is one of the last mainstream media hosts who are still supporting Joe Biden, with even leftist outlet MSNBC slamming the president.
I mean, she got nothing else to support. Kamala needs help. She said that that she went over budget to give y'all the campaign y'all deserve. Like, what you gonna do at this point? You can't make your party look bad. The party already looks bad. And you're not gonna let his son rot. You're not gonna be in office and not let your son rot. I mean, that, white lie. It's not even a white lie. It's a blatant one. Like, people were waiting for Obama, like I said before, and they were waiting for Obama to look out for black people. They expect certain things like this from the Democrats. Now, the crazy thing is that earlier, I didn't even notice that Clinton and a couple of other Democrats have done the same thing. They've looked out for their friends or governors or people that was once, And it's crazy because, Trump get like this bad jacket put on him, right? Trump didn't free Epstein. As a matter of fact, I heard recently Trump said that he wants the list from Epstein and Diddy and all that other stuff. He wants that shit public. Put it out there. I guess he's confident he didn't party with them. So I guess he's super confident that he's that he's not gonna be in none of that scandal. So here it goes.
Walsh, welcome, Congressman Walsh. What do you make of all of this? What is likely to be the response on Capitol Hill to this breaking news?
Good to be.
Shout outs to my brother, the Don, in the building. What's going on, player? Good to see you. Happy holidays. Hopefully you're doing well. Happy holidays to you and yours. Good to see you, man. Good morning, everybody. Y'all hit the like button, support the show on the way in, almost 3 hours into the madness. Giving y'all some good game. It's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host, DJ Kuda. Doing the Lord's works. Player Talk Radio. See what my brother said. Hold on. Shout outs to Denise in the building. He said, top of the morning, everybody. Yeah, top of the morning, man. Good to see you, man. And shout outs to everybody in the building, man. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully the show finds everybody in good spirits. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get it. Let's see what this guy has to say.
With you, see, I told you so. They're all like that. So the next time any of us complain about anything Trump does, this pardon is just deflating. For those of us who have been out there for a few years now yelling about what a unique threat Donald Trump is, for Joe Biden to do something like this, Trump, nobody's above the law, we've been screaming. Well, Joe Biden just made clear his son Hunter is above the law. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, we've been screaming.
And it didn't stop there. CNN also blasted the president's backflip.
Donald Trump decided that it was okay to pardon Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre. How many minutes of tape do we have of both of these people telling the American people this will not happen? It's I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie, and it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's all that it is. And everybody who went on TV and said, oh, look how he's the modern George Washington. He's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today, where they're going, so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining.
Both sides of the media are having a field day exposing Joe Biden's lie.
Let's go to the US now, where, of course, Joe Biden is in the dying days of his presidency. He's got less than 2 months to go in the job, so he's tying up a few odds and ends. And this question keeps coming up about his son, Hunter, the crackhead Hunter Biden. But, oh, you know, he was convicted earlier in the year, of course, back in...
Damn, they going super in. A man said dying. Then he calls them a crackhead. God damn.
June, he was done for buying guns while he was a drug addict. He had declared on the papers that he was not a drug addict at the time, so there were 3 felonies. Then in September, he pleaded guilty to not paying at least $1.4 million in taxes. And, you know, many times Joe has been asked, you know, pardon your son? Are you going to pardon your son? Look, he's considering it. There's no doubt about that. But at least we know that Joe Biden thinks that no one, not even his son, is above the law.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. Each of us is equal before the law.
What's going on, Toya? Hey, Toya. Good morning.
Law. No one is above the law. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down. Those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law.
And don't fear, he has been personally asked this question multiple times. Will you pardon your own son? No way.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud.
I've told y'all endless times on this channel, the people that break the most laws are the ones that enforce them.
My son Hunter, he has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. And I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
And of course, his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, has also been asked multiple times, and she has always said there is no way this will happen.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
I actually talked to...
Got y'all up here lying. Got y'all up here lying, man. Yeah, you know, when the Democrats really want to lie to y'all, they put a blackface on it, man. Got y'all up here lying like a motherfucker. Two hours and 40 minutes into the show. Please hit the like button and support the show via Cash App. I appreciate you guys. You can support the show at $ PTV888. That's $ PTV888. That's $ PTV888. We at least need one contributor to today's show. We need 5 contributors. Please support the show via Cash App, PayPal. Thank you for your support. Please don't let us down. Please support the show. Money Green says the devil lies about everything. Absolutely. Shout outs to Star P. Said, I don't believe anything these motherfuckers say. Why should we? At this point, we just dodged a bullet. Kamala said she needs help because she overspent giving her people the budget. I mean, she overspent on the budget, giving her people the campaign that she believed that they deserved. Megan Thee Stallion, Beyonce, they're not going to say, hey, let me give some of that back.
Joe Biden about this. When he was on the show, I told him I hoped he pardoned Hunter.
I remember. I take issue with lying about it. I wanted to ask him here when he came on The View, but the thought was he said so many times he wasn't going to pardon him. That to me is lying to the public.
I'd stop calling it a lie. This is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with, because when we're
and you know Whoopi gonna defend him. All right, guys. Shout outs to everybody here. We are out. It's Player Talk Radio. Good morning. Thank you. Peace.